Enchilada Casserole! I've never made one of these before, but it's something that my mom would always cook for my family for meals. So I chose ground turkey for today since I'm being lean. I'd like to cook with more lean meat if possible. And also I love ground beef, which could support me right now hormonally, but I chose ground turkey instead. We got avocados for just an added extra. We have our enchilada sauce. I got taco seasoning just to flavor the meat a little bit. I got sprouted corn tortillas. These are organic. I try not to do corn. There's no preservatives in these. I try to limit my corn consumption, but these seem pretty cool, so I want to give this a shot without ruining the integrity of the enchilada casserole by using something like egg whites, because I feel like that might not give me the texture that I necessarily want for this dish, but I might try that another time. But for today I got corn, and then of course we got our cheese, usually just cheddar, but I was feeling it, so I got Monterey Jack cheese as well, and I might combine the two for this. Just do this here. And onions, I got white onions for the enchilada casserole. Here. Right, so this is everything for our fun cooking excursion. I'm so excited. This is really fun. I get to show you how I operate in the kitchen. Usually you wouldn't want to use olive oil on high heat, but that's okay, we're doing it. I usually cook my meat with this and it's fine. I don't put it on super high heat. I usually keep it on like medium temp, and this is imported from Italy, so I trust it. There are some bottles that will say like imported from Italy but packaged in the US, and I do not trust that. This one is packaged, it says packaged and manufactured in Italy, so it looks pretty Italian to me. I don't know. You don't want them sneaking weird schniz in your oils because they will do that. Alright, so we throw some of that in the pan. We're going to turn it on. For the garlic, I'm going to do a low heat because it will get sticky, and I'm not going to leave it in the pan for too long, but I do want it to season the oil. So I want it to season the oil before the oil gets on the meat. So spread this around, get the pan nice and oily. And because it's a lean meat, I'm using oil. If I was using ground beef, especially like an 80-20 or an 85-15 ground beef, that already has enough fat to like keep it moving around in the pan and not having it get stuck, to where I wouldn't be adding this much oil. So I'm doing this much oil because I have 98% lean ground turkey, and that will stick to the pan for sure. So I'm gonna use my little garlic press tool here. Just fun. I'm gonna pop one of the garlics in. And it just presses right into the pan. Nice and juicy garlic. So I'm going to just use all 5 cloves that I pressed. Sometimes, depending on maybe what diet you're on or what ailments you may have, garlic might upset some people's stomachs, but garlic is technically a winter root vegetable that is really good for your immune system. So garlic is a really good natural food to support your immune system. As you can see, like the garlic is already nice and fine. Didn't have to spend time dicing it with a knife, which is super cool. That just saved me so much time. So I'm gonna let this cook in here for a little bit as the oil gets hot. Probably could have waited a little bit for the oil to get more hot because I have it on a low heat setting. So I'm gonna turn it up just a touch. And then I'm going to get my onions ready to kind of saute in here as well. The ones that I diced up in the food processor. It smells so good. And then spices that I have ready for me on the side are black peppercorns I'm going to fresh cracked in there. This is Himalayan sea salt. I just have a giant tub of it. So I have Baltic sea salt as well, but I'm trying to get rid of this Himalayan salt. So I'm using that. And then the taco seasoning that I got from Lazy Acres, that is just amazing. It has no preservatives or no weird anti-caking agents. It's just all organic spices. So that'll season our meat a little little bit more. Garlic is starting to sizzle. I guess one really cool note about black pepper is that it increases the absorption of any like vitamins and minerals or like micronutrients that you're eating, especially something like turmeric or turmeric, however you want to say it. You always want to include black pepper when you are eating that specifically because it will just increase how your body absorbs the curcumin in that. But I love adding pepper because it adds to the taste and it helps absorb nutrients, which we love. Alright, so we're scraping all the good stuff in here. Just gonna lightly saute these onions with the garlic. And then I'm gonna throw the meat. Alright, so I'm still on a pretty low heat setting right now just because I don't want to burn these or it's going to be in there with the turkey for a while. So it'll get cooked more. This is Mary's Organic Free Range Turkey, 1 pound. There's 4 servings in this container and there's 24 grams of protein. So that means there's 96 grams of protein in this entire thing. So if I'm adding all of this to one casserole dish, you can kind of do the math in like portion sizes to see like how much protein you might be getting. So that's kind of how I eyeball protein instead of like using a scale to measure because it tells you on the package and then I just kind of like, oh yeah, I had a quarter of the dish, so that means I probably had 24 or 25 grams of protein. All right, I'm gonna crank up the heat a little bit more because I'm gonna throw my turkey in there. So get this cooked down a bit. Onions sometimes tend to bother some people's stomachs too that might have like SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So people with that, which usually you need to get a test for, a blood test or a saliva test, cannot eat onions or garlic. So if that's you, then this meal is not for you. All right, we're gonna throw this turkey in here. Chop it up with my spatula is pretty sharp, so it duals as a knife. I'll chop it up, and then I'm gonna add in my spices, and then I'll chop it up and stir it up a little bit more, so it's pretty bland. So again, you could always add more salt. So just kind of get like a nice little glaze over it. And then same here, trying to find the little holes. Oh, that was a lot. Right. And then we want our black pepper. So crack this over. And then I might add more oil as we cook because it might be cooking off. You can always add more pepper too. So we'll taste it toward the end. And don't be afraid to make a little mess. Sometimes I do. Oh, I can cook perfectly without making any mess. That's not fun. It's like an artist that's like painting. If you were afraid to like make a mess or like mess up, like sometimes you wouldn't make the masterpiece that you would if you were just like carefree creating something. And even if you get like an idea like, oh, maybe that would taste good in here, you can always try it out. So now that I kind of have everything stirred up in a way, I'm gonna crank up the heat a little bit and let it sit so the turkey can cook. Okay, so I'm gonna let that cook, just let it sit for a bit. The turkey still looks pink. There's always guides on the meat that says cook to internal temperature of this. Like I'll pay attention to that when I'm cooking like pork chops or steak where I want to like, I'm trying to get used to finding like the perfect temperature that I like for like a medium rare steak. So I'll use a meat thermometer there. But with things like poultry and fish, I'll just slice open to see if there's anything clear. If it's clear or translucent at all, it's not done. If the ground turkey is still pink, like it was when it was raw, it's not done. So I can see there's pink areas in here, so I know that the turkey's not done, but I'm gonna stir it periodically to make sure that we're cooking it evenly and that all sides can touch the bottom. And based off of the color too, like you can see with the seasoning, it looks kind of light, but I'm gonna keep it that way because there's a lot of herbs or spices in the enchilada sauce. So I don't want to overpower the enchilada sauce, especially because I use the chocolate seasoning. So just to give the meat a little bit of flavor, I think it's fine the way it is. but I'll give it a taste before I throw it in. And I'll just find the big chunks of meat in here and try to cut them up. Honestly, when I cook without sound, it's so nice because I feel like I'm able to meditate over the food a little bit more, where it's like I have a greater sense of appreciation, or it feels more like an art form to me to be cooking, because you're watching the food kind of like transform. You're putting in the effort to cook this meal, and I feel like I can just create more of a sense of gratitude. You know, when you like have a home cooked meal and you're like, gosh, it tastes so much better than at a restaurant, even though it's like the same dish. Grandma cooked the best. Mom's home cooking. It's because a lot of times there's a lot of care and thought and love put into the dish, and it actually tastes better. Like, there are studies that show if you give positive affirmations to like an orange slice or like a strawberry and not to the other one, the one with positive affirmations and gratitude will genuinely taste better and more flavorful. And the same with water. They've done studies with like crystallized water in speaking like good, or like sending good energy to water, or sending bad, like negative energy to water. And the crystal structure of the good energy water is much more like, has more like sacred geometry, and the other one looks more chaotic and like just scrambled. So water responds to energy as well. It's really crazy. So food does the same thing, and it will taste better if you love it and you love the process and just enjoy what you're doing. So this looks pretty cooked to me. Like, it looks great. So now the meat is done with the garlic and the onions. All this is finished prepping. All that's left to do now is create the casserole, stack it up, and throw it into the oven and eat it. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but intuitively I feel like I want to line the bottom with tortillas. Ooh. So I'm gonna do this, and like, because my pan is square, I'm just gonna cut, because that's my OCD brain kind of kicking in. And it's okay if it overlaps. That's totally fine. And that's how we'll do it, like all the way around. So there's that, and then we're gonna do a layer of meat. So I got my meat right here. So we're gonna put a layer of meat. I'm gonna put a good one. I want to have like at least 2 layers. Really just 2. Doesn't even feel like this. And then I'm gonna put the cheese on top of the meat. Like I said, I don't think there's any right or wrong way, but I'm thinking like I want the cheese to be melted. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the cheese on top of the meat, and then I'm gonna pour the enchilada sauce on top, and then I'm gonna add a couple of other spices in there. So cheese. Spread this whole here. Couple different kinds of cheese on here. Spread the love of the cheese. Then you can always like add more cheese on top at the end, like to your own personal dish, to your own personal slice of your liking. Okay, there's one layer. Cheese. Ooh, and then we have our enchilada sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and shake this up. So siete enchilada sauce, they had red and green. Green is pretty much the same thing, just using tomatillos, which is green tomatoes. Dump this on top. Try to keep it even. I'm gonna try to just use one jar. So I just used a lot of sauce there. And I still have another layer to go. So I'm gonna save that. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of cumin on top. You can't take it away, so I'm not gonna do too much. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of chili powder. If you wanna spice up this dish even more, you can like grind in peppers. Like I could have done peppers with the onions here, but I didn't wanna make it too spicy because my stomach can't handle that very well. So, but if you wanna spice it up to your liking, then you can always do that. All right, I'm gonna add another layer of tortillas. So we're gonna go another one in the center here. Cut up 2 more, and then put those here on the sides, and then we're gonna go ahead and do 1 more layer on top. So I'm gonna use all the rest of the meat that I have. This is again, like a full pound of ground turkey mixed with garlic and onions. If you have a bigger dish or like an actual casserole dish, definitely double all of the ingredients. So you would use like 2 pounds of meat, most likely. But it depends on if you don't like that much protein on it, then don't do that. Or if you want more. I put a lot of meat on the first layer, so this layer is kind of slim. Actually, it looks kind of sad, but you know, we learn for next time. Not too much. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty even. And then cheese. So just shred just a little bit more. And do that with. I've never had it before with Monterey Jack, so that'll be fun to try something new. If you like doing the same dish all the time too, like if you have like a certain dish on rotation, you can always find ways to change it up, like by doing a different cheese or trying the green sauce instead of the red sauce. Nice and fluffy. This is about to be so good. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I bought 2 jars of these, which I might have to use, so because I'm gonna put another layer of tortillas on top. And like sometimes it's good to have extra on hand if it's not saucy enough for you after it comes out of the oven, because the tortillas will absorb some of the sauce. You could also call it quits here if you want. Like this will melt nicely, but I think it's fun for the casserole to have like finished layer. And I think if I would add, I might just leave it like this, honestly, because you could put another layer on top and then add more cheese and add more enchilada sauce, but I'm gonna try it like this and see how it goes. I don't know, now I can't decide. Maybe I'll press it in. Let's do 1 more layer. Screw it, I'll do some more cheese. But you could call it quits here. Now I don't know what to do. Let me call in help from the audience. What do you think? 1 more layer? Okay. All right, we're gonna do another layer, and so I'll grab my other sauce. I'm gonna put the sauce on top first this time, and then put the cheese on top, so then that way it's all melted. And I could always like, you know, I might just use my fingers to smooth this on. I'm already knowing that this is gonna taste just so delicious. Now, would you consider this dish healthy? Well, what's your definition of healthy? I think you could always choose and control the amount of cheese that you use, or not use cheese at all. It could just be like meat and sauce and tortilla, or you could change up the ingredients. It's fine, but as long as you're not eating the whole entire thing in one seating, then you'll be fine. Like controlling or understanding your portion sizes and like spreading it out. Casseroles are, I feel like, are really good meal prep. If you want to eat the same thing all week, you're okay with that, or like have this one time each dinner, or like each dinner you have a slice of your casserole. But yeah, you can always control the amount of cheese that you put. And now this is going to go in the oven for 30 minutes, and then we're going to pull it out and enjoy it. Time's come. It's going to be heated. We have our lovely enchilada casserole here. We're gonna slice it up and see how it looks inside. I already know it tastes good, or we're gonna take first bite too and see. We're gonna go ahead and use our spatula that I cooked the meat with, because why not? This dish is probably still hot, so I'm gonna use the handles. I'm just gonna do a small, like, square cut to do it a little bit bigger. This, dig it up. Ooh, that looks bomb. Let's go ahead and taste it. Oh, actually, I do want to add a little bit of avocado on top. So I'm gonna do that. I just sliced it up. I'm gonna grab a few slices here and just fan it out. We're gonna go ahead and take our first bite and see how it comes out. See how I did. Be a judge here. I don't want to burn my mouth. That's so good. It's full of flavor. Honestly, it's perfect. I wouldn't change anything about this. I think it's so good. I mean, I'd be open to it. So I'm open-minded, but this is bomb. This is ground turkey enchilada with sprouted organic corn tortillas, a little bit of avocado on top, cheddar and Monterey Jack blend with siete enchilada sauce.